Okay, we're connecting. Just give me a minute.
Sure.
I should mute. You can hear my puppy dreaming in the background on the bed. He's barking at something in his dreams.
All right, we are live on YouTube now.
All right, excellent. Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good. Good.
Excellent. How about yourselves?
Doing good. You guys missed a guest appearance from Antonio's son. You made a guest appearance for us earlier. Very cute. Very cute. Did everyone get a chance to look at the application tonight? It's pretty straightforward.
Briefly, yep.
Everybody get a copy of Lisa's report, and we had 3 letters of support. Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments, anything they need clear, anything information they want from Lisa or Cindy before we move on to minutes and the trustees report?
No.
Seeing none, hearing none. Cindy, I'm going to open it up to you for meeting minutes.
Okay, we have the October 23rd draft zoning board minutes to approve.
23rd or 22nd? Jen,
22nd, I'm sorry.
No,
Yes.
no problem. All right, did everybody get a chance to, excuse me, review the minutes? And does anybody have any comments or questions regarding the minutes? Seeing none and hearing none, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the October 22nd, 2020 minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Cindy, we're all good?
All good.
All right. Trustee Snaden, would you like to do a trustees report, or do you?
I don't have much that affects the zoning board. If you guys have any questions about anything going on, I mean, there's a lot going on in the village, but relative to the zoning board, there was nothing at our last meeting. So if there's anything that you have any questions or concerns about, I'd be happy to take any questions.
How are we moving along with the LED light project? Is that moving along? I know that Margot had something in one of the most recent papers about it. We moving along with that?
Yeah, that has started, and there was a list of neighborhoods that we posted just to make our residents aware of what's going on. It shouldn't cause any disturbance at all in those neighborhoods, as they'll be just working on the lights and moving on. So yeah, it's started, and we're happy about it.
Does that include Main Street, or is that the state's responsibility?
No, it does include Main Street. It includes all of the village buildings. So yeah, it's pretty extensive.
Very good, very good.
Parking lot on Barnum is moving along. Speaking of, the public spaces, we're hoping that's completed by approximately December 15th. At that point, all meters will be off for, non-metered parking and free parking throughout the village until the spring. We have about, I think, another 2 weeks or so to go with that. But then when we open up again, that lot, I believe, is going to be exclusively by swiping your phone in front of the QR code. So there won't be meters that take cards and cash. So we're excited about that as well. The ones that we have throughout the village now are being used greatly over the other methods of payment. So we're happy about putting those in there, as well as 2 EV chargers in that lot.
And will that be free to residents to park in that lot? Just like all the other ones, right? Excellent.
And it will be locked at night. So there was a lot of concern in the neighborhood about overnight parking from residents in the apartment complexes, but that won't happen because it will be locked overnight.
What time does it lock?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be, I think it's when code goes off, because they're the ones going to be locking it up. So it depends on their schedule, during the week versus on the weekend. On the weekend, I want to say it's going to be 12 or 1 a.m. And during the week, I believe it's going to be 10, 11 o'clock, around that time. So at the same time that the parks close, the beach, Centennial Park closes, all of those get locked up.
Okay. And no Dickens Festival is going to be greatly scaled down, or no Dickens Festival here, but there's going to be like carriage rides. Am I right in understanding that, or am I?
All that, I don't have the final schedule yet because we did have small events scheduled on all of the weekends in December, but based on the governor's newest mandates, a lot of those can't go forward. So we're reworking all of that, and we still don't have a solid schedule to put out because of the changing environment. So as of right now, a lot of things got canceled. There was supposed to be a bell ringing choir that was going to come to Village Hall outside. That had to get canceled. Theater 3 was going to be performing outside on the stage down at the park. That had to get canceled. So it's still up in the air. We're having some early discussions about maybe piping some music, setting up some speakers throughout Main Street so people who are out shopping at least can get into the holiday spirit. But it's very, everything's up in the air, and it's very, very difficult time because we are so used to doing what we do and what we've done. And this is, it's very difficult. So stay tuned for at least something we can try and put on the schedule.
Anybody else have any questions or comments or anything they'd like to know? Seeing none, hearing none. We have a few minutes. If anybody has any questions or anything, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to say that we can.
Did anybody get a chance to look at next year's calendar?
Excellent. Thank you, Cindy. Did everybody get a copy of the calendar? Number one.
Yep.
Okay.
Look
I know it's a year away, but
Well, what happens is the person that I work with on the website is looking to get next year's calendar started because it's some work on her part. So she asked me if I had anything. So I said between the zoning and planning boards, I'd try to get something to her as quickly as I could so that they can get next year's calendar set up.
I have no issues with it. If no one else does, I would say then you can post it. Okay. Well, does anybody have any questions? No issues with the calendar, right?
No issue.
All right. Cindy, I think you can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
All right. Well, we have about 17 minutes until the meeting. So if you got stuff to do it, and we'll start. Lisa, you have people waiting. Do you have any other than Amy's, right? Do you know if there's anyone else going to be tonight?
There's about 4 people currently in the waiting room. I suspect, members related to this application or supporting neighbors, perhaps.
All right. Excellent. Everybody got copies of the letters of support, and everybody's got copies of Lisa's report, right?
I drove by the property and that sunroom looks like it was built with the house. It looks nice. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like an addition. It doesn't even look really like a sunroom. It looks like part of the house. It's good.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
All right.
Just a comment.
All right. If
So
that, then
would you like to take 15-minute break and return a couple minutes before the public hearing?
Yeah, if everyone can return about 7:28 or so, this way we'll be ready for the public hearing. And I think we'll take a break till then.
Okay. You can mute your computers and turn off your cameras, and we'll leave the meeting open to return in a few minutes.
Closing this door, this is over here too big.
Okay. Now you can.
Cindy, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jen.
Okay, great. I think you just have to enable my video because I'm trying to.
Sure. Sorry, I just had put everyone. There you go. I'll ask you to start your video.
Okay. I'm doing this on my phone, so. Cindy, can you hear me?
I can. It's very low.
Yes, Cindy
Okay,
can
I
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Okay, great.
It's very low though.
It is. You
Oh,
guys are
that's
coming in.
better. That's better. I can hear you much better now. Whatever you just did, it went up. The volume went up.
Okay. You guys are still low to me though.
Turn your volume up on. Do you have earbuds in?
No. All right, let me try that. Hold on. I thought I had it worked out because we changed over to Microsoft Teams at work, and I went through a different browser, and I could hear them. And I thought that that's what I was doing wrong here, but I guess not. Where do I plug this in on my phone? I don't think I can plug my earphones into my phone.
Well, Jen, I am recording this, so if you need the to listen back later, if we're not loud enough, that might be an option.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out why it's not loud enough though. It was fine the other day when we tested it on my phone. Oh, wait. Oh, there I go.
Good.
Okay. I had the little microphone thing on X. Okay.
Excellent. Okay, Mark, I think the stenographers are ready, so
Sorry.
no worries. Mark, you're still muted.
Sorry about that. I'm worried about everybody else and not following my own thing. Welcome to the November 19th, 2020 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for the Village of Port Jefferson. It is now 7:30. We have one public hearing on the agenda tonight, and I'm going to read that into the record. It is for 305 High Street. It's appeal number 559-20, Section 12, Block 5, Lot 12. RB3 Residential District. The property owner is Joan Furman. The applicant is Joan Furman. The contact is Amy DeVito, care of Woodhull Expediting. Applicant requests permission to maintain an existing enclosed front porch sitting 7.5 feet from the northern yard, where Section 250, Attachment 3 of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson requires an 18-foot single side yard. Said existing enclosed porch also creates an 18.5-foot combined side yard, where Section 250 Attachment 3 of the Code requires 40-foot combined side yard. Okay, is the applicant waiting to come in, Lisa? Or Amy,
Yes, Amy
Amy
DeVito.
DeVito?
Yes, I will promote Amy to panelist.
Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Good evening,
Amy.
Amy. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board.
I'm just going to have you sworn in. Jen, are you swearing
Yep.
in? Oh, go
Sure.
ahead, Jen.
Right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, quick question for you. Did you get a copy of Lisa Rickmer's report for this
I
applicant?
did. Yes, I did.
Okay, I'm now going to open up the floor to you. So go ahead, Amy, when you're ready.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Amy DeVito, Woodhull Expediting with offices at 1031 Main Street, Port Jefferson, New York. Mr. Chairman, my client, Joan Furman, is in the process of selling her home. And as such, she is legalizing her rear deck and her side sunroom addition. The sunroom addition was built in the 1980s. So it's been there for about more than 30 years. We did submit to Lisa Rickmer's some comparables, really just photographs of various homes in the neighborhood that show similar side yard setbacks to what we are requesting today. As stated in Lisa Rickmer's memo, most of the historic properties in the neighborhood do maintain similar side yard setbacks. And ironically, we found these comps before we even read Lisa's report, and these are all historic homes. So if you look at the pictures which were submitted, you will see that many of the homes in the neighborhood do maintain setbacks closer to the side yard property line than what is required. We also submitted some photographs of the subject just so everybody could see what it looks like. So the sunroom addition is connected to the home, and you could access it inside the home. It is heated space, and it's accessed through the dining room. It's used as a sitting area. And I am happy to answer any questions the board may have.
I'm happy to share those images. Which should I begin with?
Can you first put the survey up to start with the survey, and then follow through with the images that Amy referred to?
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, the shed that is overlapping slightly on the north property line has been removed.
Okay. Cindy, any pictures that Amy supplied us, you're gonna include as exhibit A, B, C, whatever order you're following.
Okay.
Lisa, when you're ready.
Yeah, so let me just pull up the survey. I will share my screen. Okay, so this is the survey of the existing conditions on the property. The area that's hashed out is the enclosed sunroom that was added sometime in the 1980s. There's also a path, like a deck path to the back wood deck, but the closest side yard setback is actually the one up here in front next to the added sunroom.
Okay, and Amy, just confirm the shed, again, as you said before, the shed that's shown on this survey has been removed.
That's correct. It's been removed. It's been completely demolished and taken off the property.
Okay, excellent. Can you just, for the record, Lisa, can you share the original survey? I believe it's the survey from '66. Do you have that?
Sure. Do you see it?
I see it I see it now.
Okay, so this is the original survey. So yeah, this is from 1966, and as you can see, this is the area where that additional room was added, and then the deck continuing back this way.
Okay, and now can you show the pictures that Amy has supplied?
Sure, let me pull those up.
Amy, well, Lisa's bringing it up. I'm just going to ask you a couple of quick questions. Just want to confirm we issued a CO in 1973 for this house, but the house was built prior to the incorporation of the village. Can you confirm that?
That is correct.
Can you know when the house was built, the original construction of the house was built?
I don't know the exact year, but just based on looking at it, I would say it was probably in the early 1900s to maybe the 1930s, somewhere in
Okay.
that range.
Okay, excellent. This is another question for you.
Okay.
Where are they?
This is the house. These are the images of the house.
Okay. Amy, could you just, as these pictures come up, can you just walk us through what we're looking at, please?
Sure. The picture that just scrolled up off the screen is the front of the home from the High Street elevation. And this is actually the rear of the sunroom and the platform deck that you saw earlier on the survey. So this door leads into the sunroom. So the sunroom actually has its own exit into the side and then rear yard.
Okay.
This is the rear of the house, standing actually just about where the shed was. It was actually being removed the day I was there taking photos.
Okay, and Amy, confirm in this picture, the sunroom is not visible from this view? Just
That's
confirm
correct. It is not visible from the rear of the house. You can see the roof line very slightly, but that's it.
Okay.
And now this is the other side of the house, or the south side of the house.
Okay.
This is a photo from the front of the house standing on the lawn. So that is actually the front view, a close-up of the sunroom.
Okay. Is that sunroom on an elevated deck, Amy?
Yeah, it's enclosed with lattice, so and some brush. So I couldn't really see it well, but it looks like it's built on posts and footings.
Okay, so it's not, there's no concrete foundation. It's typical wood deck construction to the best of your knowledge.
That's right. There might be a footing and foundation somewhere under there, but not visible from looking at it from my point of view.
Okay. Okay, excellent. Go ahead, Lisa.
This is just a close-up showing you what I was just speaking of, the lattice covering the bottom portion of the sunroom.
And those windows in the picture are the sun is in the sunroom, am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
This is the side of the sunroom, and you could see in the back portion of the picture, that's actually the wood platform deck and railings that go to along the side yard to the rear yard.
Okay, that's not included in this? We're just really looking at the sunroom, right? The wood platform, the walkway going to the rear of the property is not included in this variance, right? It's
That's
just
correct.
with just that sunroom. Okay, thank you.
And this is, oh, that's right. I was just showing standing from the corner of the sunroom, the edge, which is actually the closest edge to the property, the neighboring house, just to give you guys an idea of distance. Even though we're 7.5 feet from the property line, we're still, quite a few feet away from the actual neighboring property.
Amy,
Home.
your best guess, how far is the rear of the neighboring property to the fence, to the property line of the property in question? Best
Can
guess.
I see the next picture? Because that will help
Sure.
me put it into perspective.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, I would say from our property line to the neighbor's home, I would say at least 20 feet. It looks to me about.
Okay.
And that's a view from the street, standing in front of that neighbor's house, looking over. And then this is the interior of the sunroom.
Okay. All right, so we are, Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, we're approving, we would be, if the board voted to approve, we'd be approving 2 variances, combined side yard and minimum side yard. Am I correct in saying that?
That is correct.
Okay.
I will bring up now just so you can see some comparables from the neighborhood.
Okay. These pictures, are these still from Amy?
These are still from Amy.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are just various homes throughout the neighborhood that have comparable side yard setbacks to the subject that we're requesting variances on today.
Okay.
You
And
can
this
see
is
in the top
107.
right corner the address of each of these, which is really kind of too small for me to, oh, I have them right here.
Okay, it's 107 Thompson Street.
I have them right here in front of me in real life. So that, yes, that was 107 Thompson. This one is 107 Vineyard Place. The next one is actually 205 High Street. So that's a carport that comes, very close to the property line. We just prepared a little aerial of the 211 Thompson Street is what we grabbed to take the aerial, but you could see clearly that the properties are all very similar in size to where the subject is, with similar side yard setbacks. And then this is 211 Thompson Street, also showing similar side yard setbacks. And all of these properties are in the very close vicinity of the subject. Then we have here 405 High Street. So that's a detached garage, although it's not attached to the house, but it is a detached garage. So a larger structure very close to the side yard property line. And then we have 407 High Street, also showing similar side yard setbacks. And then we had one grant that we were able to procure. It is for a deck, but it is an encroachment into the side yard. Where it was only, I can't find it on this page.
Lisa, scroll back up, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so this was the 5 James Way. That was the rear deck setbacks, similarly small setbacks. This was not in the RB3, but all of the previous photos were homes in that particular zoning district of the village.
And Mr. Chairman, if I just may add that the property in and of itself is, when the house was originally built, which was obviously before zoning code, but it was built, on a non-conforming lot, and even without this sunroom was not meeting the required setbacks to begin with. Not that we're justifying a further encroachment into it, but my point is that, like Lisa had said in her report, and also what I was just pointing out, with these historic properties, it is not unusual to virtually create a encroachment into any setback. And really, if you add anything to this property, you're almost certainly going to need a variance for it.
Excellent. And just for the record, this house was built prior to the incorporation of the village.
Yes.
Amy, the houses you showed in direct proximity to the property in question, would
Yes.
you say many of them were constructed on or about the same time frame? I'm not going to hold you.
So. They all seem to be constructed pre incorporation of the village. I couldn't say exact dates, but definitely all pre incorporation of Port Jeff Village.
Okay. Does anybody from the board have any questions for Ms. DeVito?
Amy, can you just give us an idea of where the location of the folks who sent in letters of support live in proximity to the home?
I actually haven't seen the letters of support, so I'm not sure who they are.
Oh, what happened?
Uh-oh, our stenographer is having an issue. Can you hear us?
Amy, just hold on one second.
Sure.
I think something happened. I froze.
Yes, but can you hear us? All right.
Okay, I didn't, something froze, so I didn't hear the answer to Lou's question.
I was saying that I did not actually see any of the letters of support. I was just made aware that letters of support were going to be sent in, but I don't know who actually ended up sending them, so I can't really answer that question without identity.
Lisa, you provided me with an aerial. Can you put that aerial up for everyone to see, and I'll read off the addresses of the residents in question?
Yes, I can also, if you want, I can bring up the letters of support. I have those as well.
Sure, and I'll read those into the record once we get.
Let me just. Is that?
That looks like it. Can you blow that up a little bit, Lisa?
Yes, I can make it a little bigger.
All right. So we have 206, which is across the street. It looks like on the corner of High Street and Campbell, right where the arrow is right there. The next one is 207 High Street, which is across this, nope, it's actually two houses over on the far side of Campbell. And the last one is 503 High Street, which I don't know is on this aerial.
Several houses south.
Right. Okay. So two of them are in direct proximity and one of them is further out, but would still stay in a general neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Lisa, do we know if any of these residents are waiting to be let in?
There are people in the attendees, and if you want to open things for public comment, we can ask if anyone would like to raise their hand or and be let in.
All right, before I do that, then I'm just going to read, Amy, we have 3 letters of support. I'm going to read them into the record, and Cindy, you'll add these as exhibits
Yes.
to the file. All right, the first one is from a Laura Warren. She lives at 206 High Street. I have been a neighbor of Joan Furman since 1975 and remember when they built the enclosed porch. They put great deal of effort into making it look like it was always part of the 100-plus-year-old house and in keeping with the architecture of the surrounding homes. Because of the nature of our historic area, a majority of these houses do not conform to the required 40-foot combined side yard. The porch does not cause the house to seem any different from any other house in the neighborhood. I support the application to maintain the enclosed front porch. Laura Warren, 206 High Street. All right, the next one is, Dear Ms. Suarez, my name is Jane Collins. I reside at 207 High Street, Port Jefferson with my husband, Robert. We purchased our home in January 1979. Joan Furman has been our neighbor since 1973. The side porch in question has been there since the early 80s. It's not creating a negative impact on the neighborhood and adds character and charm to Joan's home. Sincerely, Jane Collins, 207 High Street. The next one is from James White. Dear Ms. Suarez, I am corresponding with regards to appeal number 559-20 to maintain the existing front porch at 305 High Street by applicant Joan Furman. I have been a resident at 503 High Street for 34 years, and I have no objection to the applicant maintaining the existing.
Oh no, I froze again.
The front porch has no negative impact on the other homes in the neighborhood. Best regards, Jim White, 503 High Street. Again,
Anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Hold on 1 second. Stenographer's having an issue again.
Sure. Lisa, you can forward all 3 of those letters to her if she needs them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Those-
Jen, I'll send you those tomorrow, Jennifer.
Okay. Thank you.
Again, I'm going to open it up to the board if there's any questions from the board to the applicant. All right, seeing none and hearing none, I'm going to open it up for public comment. Please, Lisa, allow anybody that would like to speak on the application to be part of the meeting.
Okay, if anyone would like to make a comment, you can use the raise hand function to be let in. Okay, I'm bringing somebody into the meeting. The name on Zoom is Barry.
Yep, I'll just.
Barry is muted currently. If you would like to comment, you'll have to unmute.
For the record, this is a type 2 action under SEQA.
Try speaking now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Hit this too.
Hold on, I think we're going to see if we can get a video. Oh, there we go. Hi, Barry, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. My name is
Barry,
Barry. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry to say, Barry, you are an attorney, so you do not need to be sworn in. Am I correct in saying that?
A retired attorney, yes.
Yes. Just for the record, Barry is the former village attorney, just so that we're clear. And Barry, please feel free to give us any comments that you have.
Thank you. I live at 206 High Street in Port Jefferson, which was the first house that you referenced on the aerial photo. And the letter from Laura Warren is from my wife. We've lived here for 45 years, and we know Joan, and we knew her late husband, Peter. We are both, excuse me, obviously in favor of the side yard variance application. It's our position that to allow it to continue would not create an undesirable change in the neighborhood, nor would it have a negative physical or environmental impact on the neighborhood or on the homes in the immediate vicinity. I think most importantly, and it's been alluded to a couple of times, the subject property is located in the historical section of the village. We are made up of idiosyncratic homes and idiosyncratic lots. This is not a cookie cutter community where this type of extension of a home might be jarring and might stand out because it's so different from most, if not all, other homes. As the photos show, and I believe as Amy has referenced, there are a number of homes virtually in the immediate vicinity of the subject property that have side yards to the same dimensions or approximately the same dimensions as the one that you're considering this evening. This extension has never been objected to by anyone that I know of. I've lived here again for 45 years. I think it's also important to note, and one or two of the photos did show it, that the property in question is not on the street level. It's above grade. As a matter of fact, one of the photos shows looks like a concrete block wall that was installed probably over 100 years ago. I believe the house was not, as mentioned, was constructed in the 1920s or 30s. I believe it was constructed in 1896. And that wall, I would guess, was installed to hold back the property. That wall is approximately 12 feet tall, which means that the side yard, which actually slopes up to where the extension in question is located, is at least 12 plus feet above High Street. The reason I mention that is because someone walking by on High Street, and we do get a lot of people walking by looking at the homes, or someone driving on High Street would really not see that extension the same way they would see an extension in, let's say, a more traditional Long Island suburban community. It's virtually impossible to see the land on which the extension is located, much less the lower part of the wall that would be facing west. I think that's important because it, again, would not have any negative effect on the surrounding neighborhood. There was also mention, I think in response to a question from the chairperson, that the house immediately to the north, which you have a photograph, was approximately 20 feet from the property line. In fact, I measured it as recently as this afternoon, and I hope this is correct, it's 70 feet away. So even by granting this variance, which might be more dramatic and more substantial in a different context, in this particular context, the extension has absolutely zero effect on that property. No sense of intrusion, no sense of violation, no sense of loss of privacy. Again, I've never heard any complaint from anyone living in that house, which is closest to the subject property, which is on the corner of High Street and Campbell Street. And all I can say is the Furmans have always been good neighbors, and we would hope that you would take that into consideration in passing on her application. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Barry, just confirm the house that we're talking about it looks like from the aerial I have from Lisa, is 301 High Street. Is that the house that you were saying that's 70 feet from the extension in question, or the property?
I believe
line in
it is.
question?
I believe when you head south on High Street from Campbell Street, you get into the 300 digits for addresses. So 301 would seem to be the one that would be right on the corner. Yes.
And Barry, you're on the across the street from this house, and looks like about on the corner of High and Campbell. Just about. Is that an accurate description?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Warren? Seeing none, hearing none. Barry, thank you for your comments on this application. It was good to see you again, and have a good holiday.
Thank you. Same to you and all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lisa, is there anyone else that would like to speak on this application?
If anyone in the attendees would like to raise a hand, if they have some further comment to make, feel free to raise your hand so that you can participate. I think a number of the attendees, actually, you've already read their comments into the record.
Just want to make sure that anyone that would like to speak gets the opportunity to speak.
Yes, of course. So far, no one's raising their hand.
I'm going to move on. If something changes, Lisa, just stop me.
Okay.
Amy, I'm going to just walk you through the five requirements for the variance and just answer them to the best of your ability. You heard me? And
I did, yep.
oh, perfect. Okay. Whether an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting this area variance?
No, as evidenced in the comparable photos that we sent to you of the neighboring properties in the surrounding neighborhood, we feel that this is actually within character of the neighborhood.
Okay. Whether the benefit could be sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance?
There is not, other than removing the entire addition, which would clearly create a financial expense and obviously undesirable.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, even by removing this, if you were to remove it, the house still has a side yard setback?
That's correct.
Okay.
The home is, with the way the home was built, even though prior to incorporated Village of Port Jefferson zoning, was built in such a way that it was encroaching in the side yard setbacks that we now see today.
All right, and we have two variances, and whether they are substantial. The first one, which is 7.5 feet, would be 58%. The second one of the total 40 foot would be 54%.
I do not feel that they're substantial. I wouldn't say that they're de minimis, but I do feel that they are not substantial.
All right, whether the proposed variance would have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood of the district?
No, we are, this sunroom is a sitting area only, so we haven't added any bedrooms to the home, which means that we are not triggering the need for any upgraded septic systems, and there is no current drainage issues on the property, even with the additional
What is
roof
that?
square footage. That was my cuckoo clock, and I'm really sorry about that. Okay, it's over now.
The joys of working from home.
Yep.
And the last one, whether the variance, whether the alleged difficulty was self-created.
I would say that it probably was self-created.
Are there any other questions or comments from the board, or Lisa, do we have anybody that wants to speak one last time?
Just checking one last time if anyone wants to raise their hand to comment. I'm not seeing any hands being raised.
Okay, then I'm going to close the public portion of the meeting. And I'm going to, if the board member, does anybody on the board one last time have any questions? If not, I'm going to ask for a motion, please.
I'll make the motion to close the meeting.
Okay, can I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? None. Amy, thank you for your time, and Cindy will let you know what the board decides.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah,
Take
thank you.
care.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks. Yes, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank
night.
you.
Have a happy
right.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy
Yes, you
Thanksgiving.
too, Jen.
Same.
Thank you.
All right. Unlike most of our applications, we actually had a lot of support in this application. Many of you, if you guys don't know, Barry was the village attorney for years and years that I was on the boards, and he's been in the village as long as I can remember. So, does anybody have any comments or questions on the application?
No, he covered my one comment, which was that it was substantially more than 20 feet to that neighboring property.
Yeah,
it's a large plot of land next door, and the house is at the opposite corner of it. So
I think this house is typical of that neighborhood. It looks like to be a historic neighborhood. All the houses seem to be set that way or have structures, whether they're add-ons or we did see a detached, but I think she provided us enough local housing as well as housing along Thompson Street that showed that this was typical to the neighborhood and not an exception. Anybody have any different feelings or comments?
no, and I think the idea that if you took it away, it still wouldn't be in compliance is also relevant. It's not as if we get to test it against the difference that it makes to the previous non-conforming, but it is relevant that the house is on such a narrow lot that even without this addition, it wouldn't have the side yards that got written into the code long after it was built. We're talking 6 feet addition to the house as it otherwise would be, not 12 or 54% or whatever it ends up being.
Like I said it when I drove by it before, you don't really notice it. It's not like, it looks like it's part of the house and should be there, you know? It's not like a big addition.
And if you assume what Amy and what Barry said, it's at a minimum 50 to 60 feet to the house from that property line. So it has very little to no impact on the immediate neighboring property. So, and we walk through the criteria, and again, we'll walk through it just for our purposes for an application. Whether an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood, I don't think so. I think actually it fits in with the character of the neighborhood, and I agree with Amy that the character of the neighborhood would not be impacted if we approve this. And again, as Andrew said, even if we deny it, the property still is has a non-conforming side yard. Whether the applicant could be achieved by some other method, I think the house that's a circa, and that's probably been there since time immemorial, and it was prior to the village, so it wasn't built out of compliance at the time. So I think there's no other way to pursue it other than taking it down, and again, taking it down, we still have a non-conformance. Whether the variance is substantial, mathematically 54%, I think you can make an argument that it's 54% is substantial, but I don't think that's a negative factor. Whether the proposed variance has any adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions, I think it's obvious that it does not. And whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, you could say yes, but again, it was built prior to the incorporation of the village, so they weren't under technically any.
Well, no, the porch wasn't, but and I think she even
correct.
admitted
I'm
that
sorry.
it was she admitted that it was self-created, which I think it is if others agree.
Correct.
Not that
sorry,
will cover it.
You're right. I'm sorry. Yes, they got a CO in
No worries.
1973, and they built the sunroom after. You are correct. Thank you, Andrew, for correcting me.
No worries.
That being said, does anybody have any comments or questions on this application? I'm going to make a motion that we approve both variances. There are two variances here to be approved. The first one, allowing a 7.5 side yard setback where 18 feet is required. And the second is a combined side yard of 18.5 feet where 40 is required. So there's two variances being considered. I make a motion that we approve both variances as submitted. Do I have a second?
I said,
Tracy, you second?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And Cindy, as I said on the record, the type 2 action under seeker as per Lisa's report.
Yes, I have that. Thank you.
If nobody else has any questions or comments, or Lisa, is there anything else? Cindy, when's our next meeting?
Well, we don't meeting in December. So if we approve the January calendar, hold on one second. It would be January 21st.
Okay, I think we're all in agreement that we've approved, that no one objected to the current calendar, so.
Nope.
Cindy, I would assume then that's it. So then we will not be
Yes.
meeting in December.
That's correct.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be getting together for any Christmas parties this year like we normally do, but
That is unfortunate.
Maybe a virtual toast at some point.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Virtual Team Gingerbread is not the same, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll put it on Zoom.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with receiving these applications electronically? Because we may have a few for January that are coming down the pipe, I'm expecting. Is electronic still good for everybody?
Preferable
Fine
for
with
me.
me. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
Good. All right. If there's no other business, I want to wish everyone have a very happy and safe
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
And
And holidays later, too.
yes, that's right.